I want to kick things off by talking about Tennessee's football team, and I was watching a discussion of one of my favorite pro teams this week. And they were saying it was kind of the expectations are rising, everything's feeling good about this team, and everybody's, I think they could win 2 more games. Oh, I think 2 more than what you're saying. And a national media guy was on there, and he said, what are all the opponents scared of? He said, I get your optimism, but what about this team is going to keep the other coaching staff up at night? And I thought, that is a good question. Let's apply that back to Tennessee, because I've been seeing all kinds of people are mad that I'm saying I think it's going to be a bit of a rebuilding year. I get a lot of feedback. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. They're going to be fantastic this year, et cetera. So I just want to see. Maybe there are things here that opponents are going to be staying up late, burning the midnight oil to worry about. Maybe there aren't, but this thought this would be an interesting way to look at it. So I will start with Tyler, way over here on the left side. Tyler, what is it about Tennessee this fall that's going to worry their opponents?
There are some concerns about something standing out from an offensive standpoint, but from a defensive standpoint, and we just recently had an opportunity to catch up with Josh Heupel during our station luncheon over the last couple of days. He believes that their defense can take the next step forward and be even better than they were last year. I think defensively is where you're going to start looking at where you lose sleep at night. Can a lot of these players make up what was left behind from James Pierce and Amari Thomas? I'm looking at Tyree West. I'm looking at the linebacking core. Arian Carter. I personally believe that Jeremiah Telander is criminally underrated. I think that there's a chance that he could have himself a monster season. And we'll just see how quickly a lot of the secondary pieces like Ricky Gibson, how well he adds up from his NIL demands and some of the injuries kind of making up the difference.
Okay, that's a big picture of the whole defense. Is there a specific? Is it pass rush? Is it run defense?
Defensive line. I think the defensive line, if you
continues to be the main concern.
If you're a defensive lineman this year, I think there's a good chance that you could see 1, maybe even 2 guys that stand out this year. A whole lot of talk last year was mainly about James Pierce. I think you could see Tyree West as well as perhaps maybe a Joshua Josephs be a 2-headed monster that could be a real problem in the SEC this year.
All right, let's start with D-line, and everybody else can throw in linebackers or secondary or pass rush or whatever you want to get to. Who wants to go next? What else? When an opponent is sitting there getting ready to play Tennessee the next day,
tempo.
What are they concerned about?
It's tempo. If it's back, tempo's the thing. Look, I've been in the room where Kirby Smart has complained about how tough it is to face Tennessee's tempo, Tennessee's offense with what Josh Heupel does. Because you can only run a base vanilla defense, you can't have any type of blitzes, you can't change your coverages. But if the tempo's now back, that doesn't exist.
There you go.
I would expect the tempo to be back because that's the only way the spiral system works. Otherwise, you're running the same thing 100 Texas high schools are running, and you just hope your Jimmys and Joes are better than their Jimmys and Joes. To me, the tempo is the thing that will, with Josh Heupel, always terrify other teams.
Agreed. It's just hard for me to count on that because I don't know. The last 2 years, I haven't seen them. They've been faster than most teams. You look at their tempo in the national rankings, it's still up there, but it's not that crazy speed they ran in 2022. So if that's back, that would be my number one, actually.
Yeah, I think it has to be.
If it's not back, I don't know that I don't know what I'm scared of. Go ahead.
Well, I agree with Tyler. I think Tennessee's defensive line is the best unit that Tennessee has. As far as keeping opponents up at night, I think it's kind of the element of the unknown at quarterback. You're not sure what you're going to get out of Joey Aguilar. Can he run the up-tempo? Is he going to throw a lot of interceptions like he did at Appy State last year? Is he going to run more? Is he a tougher runner? Not knowing what he presents would be one of the concerns. Now, after a few games, you should have that figured out. But at the start of the year, I think the element of the unknown about what Tennessee's going to do with him at quarterback would be problematic for opponents.
I want to come back to that in a second. Ryan, where are you going?
I had in mind unknowns in general because I think it goes beyond Aguilar. You don't know what this group of receivers is going to be. You don't know really what the group of running backs is going to be. You've seen a little bit of Deshaun Bishop and Peyton Lewis. This opponents aren't going to know what to expect from this offense. So it's
they'll know by the third game.
Yeah. But early in the season, this team, you kind of have no idea how to attack them because you don't know what they're going to lean on, what their strengths are going to be. So that early in the season works in their favor, but I agree.
That's Syracuse and Georgia that helps you with.
So I generally, though, agree that it's D-line and it's tempo. Those are the two main things. Personnel-wise, if you wanted to squint and maybe find one on offense, I think it's having 2 massive, impressive offensive tackles. If Lance Hurd is not the guy we saw last year and the guy they think they were getting out of the transfer portal, and if David Sanders is as good as advertised, they could actually present problems for opposing edge rushers. That's the one thing I look at on offense that Tennessee has personnel-wise that might put some fear in opposing defenses.
How many of these things are we counting on? I think D-line.
D-line.
D-line we can count on.
Yes.
I can't count on.
No.
Can't
David
count on tempo.
Sanders is a
Can't
as a
count on
freshman.
running backs. Can't count on freshman tackle or Hurd. I would not count
No.
on yet. So there's not a lot. Just frankly, I think the secondary will be at least pretty good, and I think the defensive line will be very
Gotta have McCoy
good.
back.
But
And-
when will the secondary be pretty good?
I think it can be pretty good at the beginning of
Without
the season.
McCoy?
Without McCoy, I think it can with the transfer from that they brought in. I think that helps. I think that with McCoy, they can be elite. Like that's the different step they can take. I just don't know when he's going to be back on the field.
Colton Hood,
Yeah.
the kid from Colorado. The other, he was the opposite corner to Travis Hunter, who Will's bringing up. Let me ask you this one. Aguilar, and not knowing what he's going to bring to the table. I'm never a fan of this. You can always, well, they didn't show him anything. Whenever a team comes out and looks bad, it's like, well, they were holding back for next week's game. It's like, this was week 9. They're not holding anything back for week 10. But you're playing a Syracuse team that, I don't know, if you were playing the Syracuse team that finished in the bowl game last year, that'd be a concern to me.
Yeah.
But they've lost more in the portal than you did. So I'm not really concerned. Let's, for the sake of this argument, say that Syracuse isn't a great contest for Tennessee. Do we think there's any chance Tennessee, because you got each Tennessee State the next week, you're not going to have to roll out the playbook for the Buccaneers. Is there any chance they go vanilla against Syracuse in the hopes that they can hide something they're doing with Aguilar to bring it out on Georgia?
No, you have to work on everything. I think, right? I think you have to make sure that you have
that was-
Aguilar
well,
receivers,
that was my
linemen,
argument, but I wanted to see
all
what-
in the same. Like you need to get that on ready as quickly as possible because Georgia's coming to town, and Kirby has the Death Star as always, right?
Yeah, I'm running my offense, and it's going to be, if it's up-tempo and that's what you're going to go with, I am not holding anything back because Syracuse may be good enough to beat you if you go vanilla.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
I don't
that's what
care
we
if
got.
I'm showing stuff to Georgia. So what?
Well,
I'm
okay.
trying to win a ball game.
Well, there you go. So that, I think that might undercut the whole argument of Aguilar being an advantage because by Georgia, then they're going to know what you're getting. And I agree with Will. If it's me, you're bringing in a guy who hasn't had spring practice with you, I'm letting him do his thing. I'm just wondering, is there any chance, though, that they look at it and say, we're going to run him a lot this year, but we're not. We're going to try to avoid running him against Syracuse. And that way Georgia comes out and he's running all over the place. I
Possible.
don't know what they could hide. If it's me, I'm running the full playbook, but you guys think there's any chance they go vanilla against Syracuse?
0. Especially with how late. I mean, Joey Aguilar just got on campus this past Monday. He's been here 6 days. You got to expedite even at Syracuse game 1. Go, do your thing.
He's a quick study.
You've got to use every game to that point
Yeah.
to get yourself ready for SEC play, for
agree.
everything that comes down the pike. And not only that, but yeah, Syracuse is good enough to beat them on the right day, probably.
All right, so the two things we feel best about. D-line, period. Everybody feels D-line's, even without Pierce gone, without Pierce, without Omar Norman Lott.
Yeah.
There's 2 big losses.
First and second round picks.
Yeah. Without those 2, we're still feeling the D-line is the strength of the team and good enough for the other team to worry about. I don't disagree with that. Then we say tempo if they're running full tempo again. If they're able to run full tempo, and I don't know if they'll be able to do it early in the season because you got a new quarterback, and I know he ran tempo at Happy State, but it wasn't this system. You've also got a new center, and I've not heard great things about center all spring long. So the tempo thing for me is still a concern, but that if you're up to speed, hyperspace, hypo speed, then I think that's your number one concern for the other team.
I know we're talking offense and defense, but one other thing I thought of,
They're scared of your punter.
Boo Carter on punt returns.
There you go.
I think they're legitimately going to kick away from him a lot of times based on what he did last year. So that's one thing. I think that will actually strike some fear in opposing teams.
Boo Carter, the return man. All right, very good. Interesting conversation.